how does a plant know to grow towards the sun? Or, how do you snatch your hand away from a hot stove before you even register the pain? It feels like magic, right? But it's actually this brilliant biological system at work. Today, we're going to dive into the incredible world of control and coordination in, well, all living things.
Yeah, let's stick with that hot stove example for a second. Your hand pulls back instantly. I mean, way before your brain has even had a chance to say, hey, that's hot. That's not some random fluke. It is a hardwired, super high-speed response system. And you know what it's all about? One simple thing: survival.
And it's not just about dodging danger either. Think about a cat chasing a mouse, or a plant bending towards a sunny window. Heck, even a buffalo just chewing its cud. All of these are movements. All of them are responses to the world around them. The bottom line is, all life is in this constant conversation with its surroundings. And to really thrive, you absolutely need these systems for control and coordination.
So in animals, the main way this happens is through what you can think of as a biological superhighway. It's this incredible, high-speed electrical grid that shoots messages around in literally the blink of an eye. Yep, we're talking about the nervous system. And the basic, fundamental building block of this whole network? It's the neuron. Seriously, you can just picture it as a living, biological wire, one that's perfectly designed to send information using these tiny little electrical signals. Okay, so how does a message actually get from point A to point B along these neurons? Well, it's like this incredible relay race. The signal kicks off as an electrical impulse at one end, the dendrites, and then it just zips down this long part called the axon. But here's the cool part. To get to the next neuron, it can't just jump. There's a tiny gap. So it triggers the release of chemicals across that gap. That's the synapse. And those chemicals spark a brand new electrical impulse in the next cell. It's this amazing switch from electricity to chemistry and right back to electricity again. So cool.
So, after this epic journey, jumping from neuron to neuron, the signal finally reaches its destination. And a lot of the time, that's a muscle cell. At this final handoff point, what we call the neuromuscular junction, the last impulse gets delivered. The muscle gets its command: contract. And just like that, a thought, or a reflex, turns into a real physical action.
Okay, and this brings up a really crucial distinction, because not all actions are created equal, right? Your nervous system is basically managing two very different types of responses. You've got the lightning-fast automatic reflex, and then you have the slower, more deliberate action that comes from actual conscious thought.
So what's the difference? Well, it all comes down to the path the signal takes. A reflex action, like pulling your hand from the stove, is involuntary and unbelievably fast because it takes a shortcut. The signal literally just zips to your spinal cord and then bounces right back out to the muscle. The brain isn't even part of the decision. But a thoughtful, voluntary action, like, say, deciding to pick up a book, that signal has to travel all the way up to the brain for processing, and that, of course, is going to take a little more time.
And that's exactly why thinking takes time. Your brain is this incredibly dense, complicated web of neurons. Making a conscious choice means processing countless signals from all over. The reflex arc is just evolution's brilliant solution to that bottleneck. It's a life-saving shortcut for those moments when even a split-second delay could be really, really dangerous.
All right, so that's animals covered. But what about organisms that don't even have a nervous system? I mean, plants don't have nerves or muscles, but they definitely move and respond to their world all the time. So how in the world do they pull it off? Well, it turns out they have their own, equally clever solutions. Just look at the famous touch-me-not plant. You know, the sensitive plant? Its rapid folding movement has nothing to do with growth. When you touch it, this electrical chemical signal shoots from cell to cell, basically telling them to dump water, and fast. This sudden change in water pressure makes the leaves collapse almost instantly. It's a totally physical response without a single muscle, just some really clever hydraulics. But that kind of fast movement is pretty rare in the plant world. The most common way plants move is actually much, much slower, and it's tied directly to how they grow. There's a name for it: tropism. It's basically where a plant strategically directs its own growth over days or even weeks, which lets it navigate its world in what you could call super slow motion. And plants have this whole toolbox of different growth strategies they can use. They bend towards light to get as much sun as possible for photosynthesis. We call that phototropism. They respond to gravity, always sending roots down and shoots up. That's geotropism. They can even grow their roots towards water or follow chemical trails, like a pollen tube finding its way to an ovule. It might be slow motion, but it is an incredibly precise way to navigate. Okay, so let's recap.
We've seen the super fast electrical signals in animals, and we've seen the slow, growth-based movements in plants. But what if I told you there's another system, a slower, chemical-based one that both plants and animals share? Yep, we're talking about the body's chemical messengers, hormones.
The best way to think about the difference is to imagine a telephone versus a radio broadcast. The nervous system is like that direct telephone wire. It's incredibly fast, super specific, a one-to-one connection. Hormones, on the other hand, are like a radio broadcast. A chemical signal gets sent out and it travels through the whole body, affecting any cell that's tuned in to receive that specific message. It's definitely slower, but its reach is just massive.
In the plant world, hormones are basically the master architects. Take a hormone called auxin, for instance. It builds up on the shady side of the stem, which makes those cells grow longer. And that's what physically bends the plant towards the sun. You've got other hormones that trigger stem growth or cell division, but it's not all just a gas pedal. There's also a brake, a hormone called abscisic acid, that halts growth when conditions aren't right. They all work together to guide pretty much the plant's entire life. And in animals, hormones often act like the first responders in an emergency. We've all felt this. Think about adrenaline. You get into a scary situation and boom, it's released into your blood. Suddenly, it's acting on all these different organs at the same time. Your heart beats faster, your breathing rate goes up, blood gets pumped to your muscles. It's one single chemical signal that prepares your entire body for one of two things: fight or flight.
So there you have it. From the instantaneous snap of a reflex arc to the slow, deliberate bend of a plant towards the sun, life uses this incredible combination of electrical grids and chemical messengers to sense and respond to the world. It just goes to show how complex and amazing communication can be. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other, even more subtle communication systems are out there, just waiting for us to discover?